Hello everyone. I am Karina from BSc Chemistry Honors second year. Today we will discuss about the chapter The Distribution Law, which is from our Physical Chemistry book of second year of Pardeep Publications. So हमें डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लॉ की नीड क्यों पड़ी, किसने इसको दिया, इसके बारे में हम इस चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इसका इंट्रोडक्शन डेफिनेशन ऑफ द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लॉ. It is observed that when a solid or a liquid is added to a mixture of two immiscible liquids, in both of which it is soluble, for example, iodine to a mixture of carbon disulfide and water or succinic acid to a mixture of ether and water, it distributes itself between the two liquids in such a manner that the ratio of concentration of the substance in the two liquids is always constant at constant temperature. These observations were made by Berthold and Jungelfish in 1872. However, it was pointed out by Nernst in 1891 that the ratio of the concentrations is constant only when the solute has the same molecular weight, that is the molecular state, in both the solvents. Hence, the generalization was put in a proper form by Nernst and is called Nernst distribution law. It states as follows: a solute, that is solid or liquid, distributes itself between the two immiscible solvents in such a way that the ratio of the concentrations of the solute in the two solvents is constant at constant temperature, independent of the presence any other molecule species, provided that the solute has the same molecular state in both the solvents. Thus, if a solute X distributes itself between the two immiscible solvents A and B, then if X remains in the same molecular state in both the solvents, we will have concentration of X in solvent A divided by concentration of X in solvent B is equal to C1 by C2 is equal to K, which is a constant. The constant K is called distribution coefficient or partition coefficient. To test the validity of the law, different amounts of a solution of iodine may be added to mixtures of water and carbon tetrachloride or CS2 taken in different bottles. These are then shaken and allowed to stand. A known value of each layer, volume of each layer is pipetted out and then titrated against hyposolution to find out the concentration of iodine. Similar experiments may be performed with other solutes and immiscible solvents. Conditions under which distribution law is valid. The distribution law is valid only if the following conditions are satisfied. Number 1. The temperature must remain constant throughout the experiment. 2. The two liquids, or we can say solvents, should be mutually immiscible. 3. The amount of solute added should be small, that is, the solution should be dilute. This is essential because in certain cases the solute added affects the mutual solubility of the solvents. 4. The solute must have the same molecular state in both the solvents, that is, it should not undergo association or dissociation in any of the solvents or combination with any of the solvents. Thus, the law is not valid for the distribution of benzoic acid between water and benzene because it has been observed that in benzene, benzoic acid undergoes association to form dimers. Similarly, the law is also not valid for the distribution of any electrolyte like HCl acid between water and a non-polar solvent like benzene, CS2, carbon tetrachloride, etc. because the electrolytes undergo dissociation in water. उसके बाद इसके लिए कुछ न्यूमेरिकल्स दिए गए हैं जो कि इसकी एप्लीकेशंस या कंडीशंस को सेटिस्फाई करते हैं. उससे आगे है थर्मोडायनामिक डेरिवेशन ऑफ द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लॉ. The thermodynamic derivation of the distribution law is based upon the principle that if there are two phases in equilibrium, that is, two immiscible solvents containing the same solute dissolved in them, the chemical potential of a substance present in them must be same in both the phases. From thermodynamics, we know that the chemical potential, which is denoted by mu, of a substance is a solution given by mu is equals to mu naught plus RT ln of A, where mu naught is the standard chemical potential and A is the activity of the substance, yeah, or solute in this solution. Thus, for the solute in liquid A, we have mu A is equals to mu naught A plus RT natural log of A. Similarly, for the solute in liquid B, we have mu B is equals to mu naught B plus RT ln of AB. But as already stated, since the liquids A and B are in equilibrium, mu A equals to mu B. So we will put the value of mu A and mu B. Mu naught A plus RT ln AA plus AA is equals to mu naught B plus RT ln of AB. RT ln AA minus RT ln AB equals to mu naught B minus mu naught A. Ln of AA upon AB is equals to mu naught B minus mu naught A upon RT. Further, at a given temperature, mu naught A and mu naught B are constant for given substance in the particular solvents. Hence, at constant temperature, we have from equation 4th, ln AA upon AB equals to constant, and therefore AA upon AB equals to constant. This is the exact expression for the distribution law. However, if the solutions are dilute, the activities are equal to the concentrations. So this expression may be modified as Ca upon Cb equals to constant, which means concentration of A divided by concentration of B is equals to constant, which is the original form of distribution law. Next है change in the molecular state and distribution law. As mentioned earlier, Nernst was the first person to point out that the distribution law in the form C1 by C2 equal to constant is applicable only if the solute remains in the same molecular state in both the solvents. That is, it does not undergo association or dissociation in any of the solvents or combination with any of the solvents. If, however, such changes takes place in any of the solvents, then the law cannot be applied to the total concentrations of the solute in the two phases, but only to the concentrations of the identical molecular species in two phases. In each of these cases, the distribution law equation is modified as discussed below in following these cases. Case first, when the solute undergoes association in one of the solvents. Suppose the solute X remains in the normal molecular state in the phase first, but N molecules of it associate to form complex molecules Xn in phase second. Then the following two equilibria will exist simultaneously, which is shown in the figure. In this figure, we have taken two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, no change takes place and its concentration is equals to C1. In phase 2, association takes place and concentration is equals to C2. First case exists in a between two phases. जो फर्स्ट केस है इसका वो टू फेजेस में एग्जिस्ट करता है. X is in equilibrium with X and the second case is NX in equilibrium with Xn in the same phase second. Suppose the total concentration of solute X in phase first is C1 and the total concentration of solute X in phase 2 equals to C2. Also suppose alpha is the degree of association of the solute in phase second. Then concentration of associated molecules in phase second, that is Xn equals to 1 upon n C2 alpha, and concentration of unassociated or we can say normal molecules in phase second equal to 1 minus alpha into C2. Applying the distribution law to equilibrium in case first, we get concentration of solute X in phase first divided by concentration of normal molecules of X in phase 2 equals to constant. C1 upon 1 minus alpha of C2 equals to constant. Again apply law of chemical equilibrium to equilibrium condition second. We get concentration of associated molecules in phase second upon concentration of normal molecules in phase second raised to power n is equals to constant. 1 upon n C2 alpha upon divided by 1 minus alpha C2 whole raised to power n equals to constant. C2 alpha upon 1 minus alpha into C2 raised to power n equals to constant. Therefore n is a constant. Taking the nth root we get under nth root of C2 alpha divided by 1 minus alpha into C2 equals to constant. Now we will divide these equations which is from case first and which is case from second. The first then we will get C1 upon nth root of C2 alpha equals to constant, which is the exact formula. When the molecules in the phase second are almost completely associated, alpha is equals to 1 and therefore C1 upon nth root of C2 equals to constant. Now we will discuss its second case, when the solute undergoes dissociation in one of the solvents. As before, suppose the solute X dissolves in the phase first without any change in the molecular state but undergoes dissociation into YZ, etc. in the phase second. The following two equilibria will be set up. First, X is in equilibrium with phase 2X, and second, is in equilibrium with Y plus Z in the same phase. Suppose total concentration of solute X in phase 1 is C1, total concentration of solute X in phase 2 is C2. Also suppose the degree of dissociation of solute in the phase second is alpha. Then concentration of undissociated molecules in phase second equals to 1 minus alpha into C2. Apply the distribution law to equilibrium first, we get C1 upon 1 minus alpha of C2 is equals to constant. Here K is equals to partition coefficient. Note, it is obvious that if the solute undergoes dissociation in phase first with degree of dissociation alpha but remains normal in phase second, then the formula obtained will be C1 1 minus alpha divided by C2 equals to K. Similarly, if the solute undergoes dissociation in both the phases with different dissociation is equals to alpha in each, then the formula will be C1 into 1 minus alpha divided by C2 into 1 minus alpha is equals to K. From the above expression, the degree of dissociation alpha can be calculated. Case 3. When the solute undergoes combination with one of the solvents. Suppose the solute X remains in the normal molecular state in phase first, but one molecule of it combines with n molecules of the solvent as to form the compound molecules X into Ns in phase second. Then there are two cases also. X is in equilibrium with X, and second is X plus Ns is in equilibrium with X into Ns in the same phase second. Suppose concentration of solute X in phase 1 is equals to C1 and the concentration of normal molecules in phase 2 is equals to C2. Concentration of solvent molecules in phase second is equals to Cs and concentration of compound molecules in phase 2 is equals to Cc. Apply the distribution law to equilibrium first. We get C1 upon C2 equals to K, which is the distribution coefficient. Again apply law of chemical equilibrium to equilibrium second. We get Cc upon C2 into Cs raised to power n is equals to K1. Since the solvent in phase second is present in excess, its concentration, which is Cs, remains almost constant in spite of combination with the solute X. Particularly if the solute is added in small quantity, that is the solution is dilute. Thus Cs raised to power n is constant and this equation becomes Cc upon C2 equals to K1 Cs raised to power n is equals to K2, another constant. Adding 1 to both the sides, we get 1 plus Cs upon C2 is equals to 1 plus K2. On solving this, C2 plus Cc divided by C2 equals to 1 plus K2. Now divide these equations of phase in equilibrium first and in equilibrium second. We will obtain C1 upon C2 into C2 divided by C2 plus Cc is equal to K upon 1 plus K2. C1 upon C2 plus Cc equals to K upon 1 plus K2 is equal to K3, another constant. But C2 plus Cc is the total concentration of the normal as well as the solvated molecules of the solute X in phase second. Thus the above equation in fact implies that total concentration of solute X in phase 1 divided by total concentration of solute X in phase second is equals to constant. Hence we conclude that when the solute enters into chemical combination with one of the solvents, there is no modification of the distribution law equation except that the numerical value of the partition constant is changed. Now we will discuss about the applications of distribution law. The first application is in calculating the solubility of a solute in a solvent. When the two immiscible solvents are in contact with each other and the solute is added in such a large excess that saturated solutions are formed, then the concentration of the solutions at this stage will be equal to their solubilities. Assuming that the distribution law is applicable for such concentrations, we will have C1 upon C2 equals to S1 upon S2 is equals to K, where concentration C1 equals to S1 is the solubility of the solute in solvent 1 and concentration C2 equals to S2 is the solubility of the solute in solvent 2. Thus, knowing the distribution coefficient K and the solubility of the solute in one of the solvents, then in the other can be calculated. Now, some numerical problems are giving on the solubility of solvents. Second application, in studying the extent of association or dissociation of the solute in a solvent. We have already seen that when a solute undergoes association in one of the solvents, Nx is in equilibrium with Xn in which its total concentration is C2 and has the normal molecular state in the second solvent in which concentration is C1. Then distribution law formula is modified to C1 upon nth root of C2 equals to K. From this formula, the value of n can be calculated either by hit and trial method or by logarithm method as explained below. Number 1, hit and trial method. The values of C1 and C2 obtained in different experiments are put in equation C1 upon nth root of C2 equals to K. Then putting n equals to 2, 3, 4, etc. one by one. The values of K are calculated in each case. The number which gives constant value for K is the correct value of n. Second method is logarithm method. The formula for finding n is C1 upon nth root of C2 equals to K. C1 upon C2 1 by raised to power 1 by n equals to K. C1 equals to C2 1 by n raised power into K. Taking logarithm of both the sides, we will get log C1 up is equals to 1 by n log C2 plus log K. From two sets of values C1, C2 and C1 dash, C2 dash, we have log C1 equals to 1 by n log C2 plus log K. Log C1 dash equals to 1 by n log C2 dash plus log K. Subtracting these equations, we will obtain log C1 minus log C1 dash equals to 1 by n log C2 minus log C2 dash. N equals to log C2 minus log C2 dash divided by log C1 minus log C1 dash. Hence, n can be calculated. Similarly, when a solute undergoes dissociation in one of the solvents, X is in equilibrium with Y plus Z in which its total concentration is C2 and has the same normal molecular state in the second solvent in which its concentration is C1. Then we have C1 upon C2 into 1 minus alpha is equals to constant.